Hi, Matt here, and welcome in for yet another game review. In this video, we're going to discuss about 10 good and bad things in the game Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Be aware this video may contain spoilers. Uncharted 4: A Thief's End is an action-adventure game. It was developed by Naughty Dog and was published by Sony. It was released in May 2016 for PlayStation 4, and in January 2022, a remastered version has been released to PlayStation 5. The game continues the story of Nathan Drake, the famous treasure hunter in the gaming industry. Together with his brother Samuel Drake, they are searching for the treasure of a famous pirate, Henry Avery. They are accompanying an old business partner and his army of mercenaries to find this treasure. Now let's jump right into the list of 10 good and bad things in the game Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. We will start with the 5 good things. Number 1. Graphics and Appearance. The game graphics are amazing. The character, the environment, the particles, every detail is very well done. The lighting in the game was made with much precision as to not let any details escape the eye. The colors and the contrast are very well done as well. It's really easy to distinguish between all the different objects and characters. It is a wonderful experience to wander around the world and find all these little details. For example, when Nathan is in a cemetery looking for something, the player can find 2 open caskets that are next to each other in the ground, where it seems that they were dug out or maybe never really buried properly. This detail does not pose of any importance to the game, but it's still there, which I find it to be very fulfilling in terms of the game's world. It shows that this is not an empty journey with only essential parts. Number 2. Story. I always enjoy the stories of the Uncharted series, and although I never asked myself about Nathan's history, this game shared quite a lot of information. The game tells a story about a bond between 2 brothers and their important connection to their family history. It also shared with us some of Nathan's weaknesses, which we did not see in any of the former games, which makes it easier for us to sympathize with Nathan. The addition of Sam Drake, Nathan's brother, adds a lot to the narrative and also explains where did Nathan came from. It also added a cool character to the story. While traveling across the world and destroying many places as usual, Nathan also needs to battle an inner conflict of him lying to his wife Elena, which he met in the first Uncharted game. That's until Elena joined the party later in the game. In general, the game story is very interesting. Number 3. The shooting system. There are many bad things when it comes to the character's control, which I will talk about more later in this video. But the shooting system is pretty good in my opinion. Although it's not necessarily easy to hit a target, especially with a controller, the aiming itself is very steady and sharp. And that's in compared to other games where it's much easier to lose focus while aiming. As usual, every weapon has its own range, which is to be expected. But even then, with every shot, the aim still stays steady enough so that it's easy to go back to the same spot where the player aimed before. So yeah, in compared to many other games, the shooting system in this one is pretty good. Number 4. The ending. The game ended with an epilogue that shows what happened many years after the main game's event, where the player get to play Cassie Drake, Nathan and Elena's daughter, who is also, by the way, interested in archaeology and treasures. It's not a long part of the game, but it shows the future of Nathan and Elena. What I really liked about it is that it's a very good way to finish the story. It felt like all the adventures of Nathan during the game series has ended in a very good way with no permanent damage to the main characters, which is something that doesn't happen too often in the game that was released at that time. Not only that, this story ends very positively, and that's very satisfying. Number 5. Massive. The game world is very big. Although it's not an open world game, each level is very big and the player can spend hours of exploring it. As usual in the Uncharted series, there are many collectible items to find. In this game there are many collectibles than the other games as well, and lots of places to search for them. But for me, as I am not the type of gamer that try to achieve 100% in games, I found the visuals and the little details so much fun to find, so I spent hours of hanging around the map just for the enjoyment of it. It sounds a little boring, I know, but it's not, and it's worth it. I would like to take a few seconds there just to talk about our sponsor. Overpowered Clothing, a clothing company for gamers. In their website you can purchase t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts and hoodies. You can also find clothes where you can add your own tagline to them. Aside from selling clothes, Overpowered Clothing are involved with several charity events that are helping with mental health organizations to show how gaming can help people with their own mental health. By purchasing an item, you are also helping with this important cause. You can use my redeem code for a 10% discount. The 5 bad things. Number 1. Characters control. If there's any reason that I wouldn't play this game again, it's the character control. In fact, the character control in all of the Uncharted game series are pretty annoying. The movement is too sensitive and each step can be wrong, whether it's falling off a cliff or getting stuck in an object while under fire. The climbing can also be frustrating as the player needs to aim the movement in the exact direction, or else Nathan will stay with his hand in the air until the player will fix the movement. And this can also happen when the player is under fire. Not to mention that in the hardest difficulties it can be very crucial. So yeah, that was really frustrating, and I don't think that they couldn't solve this issue, especially when they had it in the former games as well. Number 2. The puzzles. There aren't many puzzles in this game in compared to the previous games, well, as far as it felt at least. Some of the puzzles were very fun to solve, but none of it was very challenging. Now I do like story-based games, but I also think that they should be challenging. So the combat was challenging, frustrating, exciting and fun, but the puzzles were not. And I would like to remind you that the puzzles are a big part of this game. Therefore, I found this very sad that the puzzles did not live up to the expectation in compared to the former games in the franchise. Number 3. Multiplayer trophies. If you are one of the trophy hunters that would like to get the Platinum trophy, you might get disappointed when you'll find out that you have to get 5 multiplayer trophies in this game. Although getting these trophies is pretty easy because they are very simple to get, many players don't enjoy playing with others, especially if they need to play with random people on the internet. So now they need to either do something that they really don't like, or just leave it be and not getting the Platinum trophy, which makes it a lose-lose situation. It's pretty wonderful that there is a multiplayer for this game, but why do the player have to play it in order to get the Platinum trophy? I find it unfair to the solo game players and it's just not right. Number 4. Easy to get lost. Although there are many benefits in the size of the maps, it can also be very frustrating in terms of finding your path forward. The plus side is that it's not like this for the entirety of the game, but there are still quite a lot of moments that it can happen. For example, there is a level where the player needs to drive a car in a desert. The players know the approximate direction that they need to go, but obstacles and different roads on the way are challenging them to get to their destinations. The problem with that is that the player needs to find the right way in a very big map, and that's without any map or compass or anything that might help the players to find their way. Well, there are other characters that can help in some way, but that's rarely enough to help. Number 5. Driving system. As I stated in the former fact, there are levels where the players need to drive a car. So first of all, I enjoy this part. But controlling the car was very challenging up until the point that it was frustrating. The vehicles are very light and easy to move, and that results in losing control pretty easily. It's just not fun for the players to put all of their focus only on the driving part and completely ignoring the surroundings, especially when they are under attack. but I will admit that if the player is proficient enough to divide their focus between the driving and the surroundings, it's pretty fun to play the action while driving part of the game. And that was the list. In conclusion, the character control in the game can often be frustrating, and the puzzles in this game are not living to the expectations. But the story is really interesting and the environment is absolutely amazing. I think that personally I will play this game again because I find it to be a very good game despite of its disadvantages. And I got a fun fact to share. Nathan Drake was originally based on Johnny Knoxville, the star of Jackass. But when the creators met Nolan North, the voice actor of Nathan Drake, they decided to make Nathan more similar to Nolan than to Johnny Knoxville. If you play this game, please let me know what do you think about it in the comments below. And thank you so much for being here, and don't forget to check my other content as well. Have a wonderful day and don't forget, enjoy your games.